Football Prodigy's Revenge, Teen to World Cup Hero. Like, share, and subscribe. Episode 41. King Power Stadium. With the whistle at the end of the first half, it sounded. Leicester City trailed Arsenal 1-2 at home in the first half. As the midfield adjusts, Ranieri tried to prevent the players from getting injured. Still decided to play defensive counterattack in the second half. If you can't fight back successfully, you can only accept a 1-2 score. The second half began. Leicester City's defensive line tightened. Leicester City looked for an opportunity to fight back. Arsenal are not in a hurry either. Non-stop conduction in the middle. Or split sides. Constantly pulling on Leicester City's defenses. Match 56th minute. Mahrez had the ball and kept looking for a break on the right side of Leicester City. Cazorla stepped forward to steal. Mahrez's right foot was preceded by a short pass. Speed yourself up. I want to divide it with the speedman ball. Cazorla's eyes were fast. Cut off the ball with one straight kick and rolled towards midfielder Arteta. Arteta passed directly to Sanchez, who had been active on the right side of Leicester. By this time, Mahrez had turned around. Sanchez dribbled the ball into the penalty area. Sanchez faced defender Delet again. Delet stood back, blocking Sanchez's route into the penalty area. Sanchez didn't think about dropping Delet either, and went straight to 2 consecutive inlines. Direct long-range shot. The ball flew quickly towards the center goal. Goalkeeper Casper was unstable and fell to the ground. Football into the net. Goal. Sanchez scored twice. Score again for Arsenal. Helped Arsenal lead Leicester City by 2 points 3-1 away. Sanchez once again hugged and celebrated with his teammates. Sanchez faced Delet, a continuous incision, with his right foot raised to shoot. The goal was scored and Sanchez helped the team lead Leicester 3-1 away. Today was a nightmare for Leicester City fans. The commentators on the pitch's podium were frustrated. Arsenal after 3-1 away. Arsenal's offensive has not slowed down. Still through non-stop long-range shooting. And the bottom line crosses. Constantly attacking Leicester City's goal. It seems that the comparison score is not satisfied. Sidelines. Head coach Ranieri clenched his fists. Arsenal are a bit deceitful too much. Speaking to the number 23 striker Julio next to him. Go up and tell them, Chu Feng, Mahrez, press forward. Cantor lagged behind, as a back, Delinkovat front. Let's just change sides and fight against them. Ranieri could accept a defeat from the team but was not allowed to lose, if ended by Arsenal 4-1, 5-1. It will have an impact on the minds of players who are in the ascending stage, which is more terrible than simply losing. So Ranieri's aggressiveness towards Arsenal decided to abandon conservative tactics and go straight to the attack. With Chu Feng in the team, they are not afraid of other teams attacking. Match 59th minute. Ulyoya replaced Shinji Okazaki, who did not play well in this game, and told the coach's words to his teammates on the pitch. Leicester City's formation gradually shifted to 4-1-1-4. A clash of players from both sides begins. 65th minute of the match. Chu Feng burst forward with the ball on the side. After swinging past Ramsey, a cross kick was passed to Derinkowart. After Darren Cower received the ball, 1 foot out of the ball, the soccer ball went straight through Arsenal's defense of 2 players. Come to Valdi. Vardy fired directly at the goal from long range. Football into the net. The ball is in. Leicester City 2-3 at home to Arsenal. Pull back a point. 68th minute of the match. Arsenal passed back and forth at Leicester City's half in search of opportunities. The formation has been overall advanced. Multiple frontcourt players have already invaded the Leicester City penalty area. Arsenal left back Monreal. Lift the ball into the penalty area with your feet. Players from both sides compete for the top spot in the penalty area. Leicester City Hutter grabbed the first point. But the football was not pushed out of the box. The ball landed inside the penalty area. Get caught up in a scuffle. Sanchez was in confusion and pushed the ball into the net. Goal. Arsenal led Leicester City 2-4 away. Match 78th minute. Another attack by Leicester City. Vardy dribbled the ball into the Arsenal half. Arsenal's players pressed in front. Vardy passed back to Mahrez. Mahrez passed Sanchez. Again crossed to Valdi. After Vardy received the ball, he did not continue to break through. A direct kick of the ball was hoisted towards the bottom line area. Chu Feng, crazy acceleration. Caught up with backup Cazorla, defender Monreal. Got the ball under control. Chu Feng took the ball into the penalty area. A rhythmic shift. Shook over Koscielny. Small angle of the door. The ball flew into the goal. The Arsenal goalkeeper stretched his arms as far as possible. Still haven't touched the football. Goal. Leicester City pulled back another point. The score came to 3-4. Players from both sides scored 3 goals in the 30th minute of the second half. Episode 42. After half an hour of frantic confrontation. The physical strength of both players is extremely fast. Arsenal opted for a substitution. Striker Giroud replaced Walcott. Leicester City replaced Drankowat with striker Kramaric. The teams on both sides don't seem to have given up on offense yet. All were replaced with new strikers. 82nd minute. Arsenal launched an attack. A pass to the number 11 midfielder at the back of Cazorla. Number 11 passed to Kramaric. Kramaric deserves to be the player who has just been replaced. Directly using the body to jam the position and knocked out the returning Mahrez. A straight foot was found, Sanchez. Sanchez received the ball and pulled his leg to shoot. Sanchez, whose physical strength was severely declining. No kicking out. Directly blocked by defender Hutter with his foot, the shot was blocked. Arsenal lost the ball. Oh. Leicester City's home fans finally let go of their hanging hearts. There were only 8 minutes left in the game. If one more goal is scored by Arsenal. Basically, the opportunity to flip the market was lost. Phew. The players on the court also took advantage of the gap between attacks and gasped for air. 84th minute. Chu Feng received a pass from his teammate in midfield. After Chu Feng received the ball. Because there are large vacancies. After already playing a full 84 minutes. Chu Feng is also the iconic big stride with the ball breakthrough. Passing by the back of Cazorla. Cazorla didn't turn around in time. It was passed by Chu Feng. Cazorla turned around. He reached out and grabbed Chu Feng's jersey. Hopefully, Chu Feng can be pulled down. But Chu Feng was still accelerating after being caught in the jersey. 2 steps later. Cazorla couldn't hold the jersey. He was broken free by Chu Feng. However, Chu Feng's speed was still affected. Arsenal defender Kosternika was in the position. Crashed directly into Chu Feng. Chu Feng took the ball at high speed, and the balance was broken. Fell to the ground. Football was also kicked out of the sideline. The referee didn't blow the whistle. Probably in the eyes of the head coach, Koscielny has been stuck in the position. Football should have left Chu Feng's control. Chu Feng showed his wonderful dribbling technique again. Let the 2 players only use foul defense to face Chu Feng. Chu Feng once again showed the quality of his world-class players. Chu Feng's wonderful dribbling breakthrough this time made the on-site commentary also call out wonderful. Koscielny, who had knocked Chu Feng down, yelled at Chu Feng, who had fallen to the ground. It was as if he wanted to show his fierceness, which made Chu Feng feel afraid. Chu Feng ignored him. But Chu Feng's teammates all rushed towards Koscielny. Surrounded by Koscielny. Kept bumping into him with his chest. Warn him. Ask him to be respectful. Although Chu Feng is Leicester City's thigh, it seems to other players. Chu Feng was just a little brother who was only 17 years old. The referee warned them to separate. Chu Feng also stepped forward to pull away his teammates. It's less than 5 minutes. Chu Feng shouted loudly. Reminding teammates that time is running out. Leicester City's players are only back in their seats. Match 88th minute. It was Chu Feng who received the ball on the side again. Facing the side staring at their own Arsenal players. Chu Feng could only vigorously stomp the ball towards the middle of the road. He also rushed to the middle of the road. Directly shake off Ramsey on the flanks and directly opposite Ramsey. Ramsey wanted to see if he couldn't keep up with Chu Feng. Directly from the rear of Chu Feng's side. Shovel the ball at Chu Feng's feet. But Chu Feng was too big and the football was fast. Ramsey didn't shovel the ball. Shoveled directly into Chu Feng's calf. Chu Feng hesitated. Quickly adjust the balance again. Run wild in the middle. Completely shake off Ramsey. 2 Arsenal players surrounded Chu Feng and Chu Feng's continuous dribbling was disguised. Not only did the speed not slow down. He also shrugged off the 2 players who surrounded him. Entered their own range. Now Arsenal defenders are all defending into the box. Chu Feng didn't have time to continue to carry the ball forward. Pull your legs out and shoot long range. Football hangs in the dead corner. Goalkeeper check couldn't save at all. Football into the net. Goal. Chu Feng once again rushed to break the door alone. Brace. Chu Feng once again saved Leicester City. The score was 4-4. Drew with Arsenal in 90 minutes. Boom. The fans cheered. Chu Feng. Chu Feng. The fans cheered Chu Feng's name for a long time and did not stop. Chu Feng's dribbling speed is really fast. With a full-time kick, rely on speed to tear apart the Arsenal defense twice in a row. Forced Arsenal to foul defense twice in a row, and the second time he quickly adjusted his balance even after being shoveled to the leg by his opponent. Finish this time absolutely flat. On the court commentary table, he couldn't stop praising Chu Feng. Episode 43. Chu Feng did not celebrate after scoring the equalizer. Chu Feng adjusted his breathing rate and let the frequency slowly drop. Ignored the teammates who ran over. Chu Feng pointed to the football in the goal. Then run to the goal and pick up the ball. Quickly return to the middle circle. The fans in front of John's television were still immersed in the excitement of the big game. It was a great game, 1 hat-trick, 2 doubles. No. It should be said that the second half was too exciting. Chu Feng is really a key gentleman, and he can help the team equalize every time, or reverse the score. Chu Feng's dribbling technique is too strong. It feels like every time the football is far away from him, and suddenly back to his feet. What is Chu Feng doing? He carried the ball back to the center circle. He didn't seem willing to accept a draw. OMGs. And Ranieri, who was still interacting with the fans on the sidelines, also discovered Chu Feng's actions. He said to the teaching assistant next to him, "What is Chu Feng doing? He still wants to attack." Ranieri didn't understand either. On the pitch, the Leicester City players once again felt Chu Feng's desire for victory. Even the Arsenal players showed respect for Chu Feng. Also quickly back to position. Arsenal striker Olivier Giroud kicked off. The game isn't over yet. 5 minutes of injury time. Olivier Giroud passed the ball back to Ramsey. Football in turn is transmitted among Arsenal players. The ball flew between the two players. Draw lines of varying lengths. Slowly drawing the line of the football, drawing the line into the Leicester City half. Arsenal have advanced into Leicester City's midfield. Most of Leicester City's players are around the box, or on the periphery. A 2-day defensive line was created. Arsenal players kept passing outside the penalty area. Hope pulls Leicester's defensive space. Look for gaps in the defensive line. The players on the outskirts of Leicester City's penalty area are also constantly trying to fight. Both sides are quite cautious. Leicester City defender Morgan's pressing finally played a role. Ramsey had to hurry up and pass the ball to striker Olivier Giroud. After Olivier Giroud hastily received the ball, he faced the line that was about to be blocked and directly chose to hit the goal. But there was no angle of the kick, and the kick was too positive. The ball flew straight into the goal. Confiscated by goalkeeper Kasper. At this point, there was only 1 minute and 35 seconds before the end of the game. Kasper did not delay and sent the ball straight to the feet of right-back De Laet. De Laet passed the ball to Kanté. Kanté did not stop the ball. Knocked the ball straight towards Mahrez. At this time, Arsenal's players also quickly returned to their own halftime defenses. Mahrez burst forward with the ball. Arsenal have too many players on the center line. Mahrez only had to continue to dribble towards the bottom line. Leicester City's midfielders have all come into Arsenal range. Mahrez cross from the bottom line. Football hasn't gotten up to the punch yet. Arsenal left-back Monreal has shoveled the ball out of the line. Leicester City won a corner kick. There are 20 seconds left until the end of the game. The referee awarded a corner kick. This will be the last attack of the game. Leicester City players were all in the Arsenal penalty area. Even goalkeeper Kasper came into the Arsenal penalty area. Mahrez's corner kick was spotted. The ball flew out and drew an arc. Fly towards the exclusion zone. Inside the exclusion zone, Arsenal players stared at Leicester City players in the penalty area in front of goal. Pull the player's arm or jam the player's position. The football didn't fly towards the goal. Flew towards Chu Feng in the great forbidden area. Chu Feng's two-back Flamini and Casola stuck Chu Feng's position, not allowing him to comfortably catch the ball and shoot. Chu Feng could only take a step back and turn around. Empty your body and stretch as much as you can. Raise your right foot high. Upside down, gold hook. It is an upside down gold hook. Football into the net. Goal. Leicester City score. Chu Feng kicked the ball into the net at the last second. Score 5-4. Leicester City leads Arsenal at home. The referee blew the end of the game. The home fans erupted into a mountain of tsunami-like shouts. Chu Feng completed the kill. Marvel. Leicester City completed the turnaround. Won this victory against the big station. Coach Ranieri walked excitedly toward the field and hugged the players on the field. Arsenal manager Wenger looked at Chu Feng, who had just stood up. Slowly clapped. For his hat-trick. And his desire for victory. Episode 44. Post-match interviews. Chu Feng, what do you think of today's game? Chu Feng's breathing was still relatively rapid, and he replied, Arsenal's offensive ability is very strong, and we are really difficult to defend. Is it because it's hard to defend that you choose to take the initiative? Chu Feng smiled, yes. Fight is a confrontation. In the locker room, Chu Feng continued to check the system rewards. System Series Quest, Swinging a Mighty Fist, 2/6. Mission Rewards, choose a player who has served in the Premier League. System Mission, Swing the Powerful Second Fist. Mission Objective, defeat any one of the Premier League Big 6s. Task completed. System Bonus, Strong Physique 2, reduces the chance of injury by a little. Win the Premier League game. Rating, 10 points. Contest prize, €400,000. John's Kingdom. That night, the European media turned a bloody confrontation into a front-page headline. Leicester City vs Arsenal, the ultimate battle of the 9 goals in one game. 2 hat-tricks, 1 double. Unyielding will, Blue Fox's Jedi strikes back. Chu Feng heavenly god under mortals. 2 goals in a row in the last 6 minutes. Chu Feng's last choice, hanging the golden hook upside down. For a time, the popularity of Leicester City's home game against Arsenal reached its peak in Europe. Overshadowed the Premier League's great-powered civil war, Tottenham Hotspur home to Manchester City, a 4-1 win. A wonderful battle of attacks is the most popular game for fans. European fans were talking about the match. Lying grass. Chu Feng was really awesome, and the gods were mortal. I'm not a fan of anyone, but it's so cool to watch this game. Chu Feng can still run so fast at the last moment of the race, his physical fitness is really good. Not at all like an Asian player. After this game, Chu Feng is the top player in our Premier League, he can match Mero. It was a crazy game, players on both sides were frantically bombarding each other's goals. At the end of this game, Chu Feng's black powder seemed to have been killed by Chu Feng. Especially the fans of the Premier League, they seemed to have finally accepted Chu Feng's strength and began to feel joy that he could play in the Premier League. Summer Kingdom. The next morning, Chu Feng was once again on the hot search. The whole network was brushed by Chu Feng again. Chu Feng vs Arsenal, the two sides slammed 9 goals. Chu Feng vs Gunners Arsenal, 3 goals. Run hard. Chu Feng's 2 rushes forced the gunman to only foul intercept. Chu Feng Xiaogua genius, shine in the Premier League. Fans who were swiped also began to discuss. I can't imagine that Chu Feng is a Xiaogua player, and I believe that he will definitely be able to bring Xiaogua football to the world stage. My factory failed. Impossible, we Arsenal are invincible. Chu Feng. 9 goals in 1 game. Lying grass. Chu Feng is awesome. Chu Feng's last upside-down golden hook. Another Premier League ball of the best. Even CTV5 reported on the game. Yesterday in the 7th round of the Premier League, Leicester City Club beat Arsenal 5-4, and our players completed a hat-trick in this game and once again became the MVP of this game, which is the 6th time that Chu Feng has won this honor this season. Chu Feng is a foreign player in China, and he can strive to achieve such achievements in European football, which is an example for our players to learn. Originally because of the relationship between the Football Association and the cold treatment of CTV5, it also began to report Chu Feng's news in a big way. And with the mainstream media began to report. Some online media follow the wind. He also began to blame the FA. 10 crimes of FA leadership. Chu Feng was persecuted by the Football Association as a football genius. Counting the geniuses delayed by the Football Association. For a time, the spearhead was pointed at the Football Association. Summer National Football Association headquarters building. The procedural ape had broken the cup. This group of untrustworthy things even began to blatantly curry favor with Chu Feng. That unruly man, sooner or later you will suffer. The procedural ape, though, was rather angry. But in the face of CTV5's reports, the procedural ape can only grumble. Chu Feng still wants to become a world superstar? Without the results of the national team, I see what you become. Procedural ape has already begun to plan to let Chu Feng in the 2016 World Preliminary Tournament not want to participate. Episode 45. Leicester City after the victory over Arsenal. 7 rounds of matches, 5 wins and 2 draws, accumulated 17 points. Come to the top of the list. One time. Leicester City is also beginning to be known to more and more people. Some sports brands have also begun to propose sponsorship intentions to Leicester City. Leicester City's financial situation has also been eased. After all, for a small club, bearing Chu Feng's salary is under a lot of pressure. But all this had nothing to do with Chu Feng. John's Kingdom, October 3rd. Leicester City away, sign Norwich. Norwich FC is nicknamed the Canary. Is a football club based in Norwich, Norfolk, in the east of England. He has won 2 English League Cups. Relegated from the Premier League to the Championship in 2013-14. Last season, he was promoted under head coach Neil after a 2-0 win over Middlesbrough in the Championship promotion playoff final. It is also an elevator team that is always upgrading and relegating. Norwich have won 3 and drawn 3 of their last 6 rounds and have a good record. So after Leicester City's bitter battle against Arsenal, the main lineup of centre-back Della Eder and striker Mahrez will be absent against Norwich. Judging from Leicester City's historical record with Norwich City, Leicester City have only won 3, drawn 3 and lost 6. The media is generally optimistic that the Canary is unbeaten at home. Ride the main team bus. The team arrives in Norfolk. Carrow Road Stadium. Leicester City's players got off the bus. Many reporters stood on the cordon, leaned out, and handed out microphones, hoping to interview Chu Feng. Chu Feng. Chu Feng. The rest of Leicester City's players walked straight to the venue. When Chu Feng passed by, the reporter said quickly, "Chu Feng, what do you think of the rotation of the main players? Are you confident in winning the game? Will you score goals today?" Many questions pounced on Chu Feng. Rotation in football is a normal phenomenon. But I'll still play hard with the other players. The media also reported on the pre-match news. Chu Feng led Leicester City to a away game against the Canary. Carrow Road Stadium. Chu Feng and his teammates stepped onto the lawn. Norwich fans booed. Expressed a displeasure to Leicester City. It is also a suppression of the momentum of Leicester City. After the commentary on the live commentary stage introduced the players from both sides. The captains of both teams guessed the coins in the middle of the circle to determine the direction of the goal. Norwich attacked first. Norwich midfielders conduct small frequencies on the midfield. Leicester City's midfielders are also slowly moving back to their own backcourt. Leicester City players are not yet in form. Norwich forward Hula Khan received a short pass from midfielder Dolans. Hula Khan received the ball without a direct pass. Observe Leicester City's position on the field. 1-foot-long pass. The ball was hoisted straight into the Leicester City penalty area. Norwich striker Jerome suddenly accelerated behind centre-back Hutter. Hutt noticed that he was getting up too slowly. You can only choose to use your arm to block Jerome's sprint. Slow him down. But Gemero still uses speed. Stuck in position. Already in front of Hutter. Gemero was distracted by Hutt behind him. It's not good to adjust anymore. Push the ball towards the near corner with a straight left foot. Goalkeeper Casper simply confiscated the ball. Norwich's attack was over. The stadium let out a sigh of regret from Norwich fans. In the next game, as long as Chu Feng received the ball, boos from Norwich fans will be heard. Norwich fans kept interfering with Chu Feng, Leicester City's top scorer. Until the 26th minute of the game. Norwich surrounded Leicester City's penalty area in front of the field and was snatched by Leicester City's new starting midfielder Fuchs. Fox directly kicked the ball away into the midfield. Chu Feng jumped. The header scrambled to the top and knocked the ball in the direction of Norwich. After Chu Feng landed, he accelerated towards the football. Norwich defender Basson also began running towards the ball. Chu Feng directly extended his foot to the football. Before Bassoon destroyed the football. The football has been worn in the crotch. Continue rolling through Bassoon towards Norwich's goal. Basson wanted to stop Chu Feng when he turned around. Chu Feng was too fast. Basson grabbed an empty one. Defender Ramsey blocked Chu Feng from the edge of the penalty area. Chu Feng suddenly turned around and wiped his right foot to the left. The left-footed control of the incoming football was brought towards the penalty area. Chu Feng faced the goalkeeper. Chu Feng fake shot real buckle. The goalkeeper was directly tricked into falling to the ground. Chu Feng faced the empty door. Direct thrust. He turned and ran to the sidelines. Didn't watch the ball roll into the goal. Cheers from Leicester City's players erupted. Chu Feng did not celebrate with his teammates. Instead, it kept running along the sidelines. I don't stop my fingers from making silent movements. High-speed Norwich fans. Your boos are useless. I can break through your doors at will. Episode 46. Carno Road Stadium. Chu Feng scored after the silent fans. The slightly mocking gesture of celebration by Chu Feng. Again, there was a louder protest. Miscellaneous items such as cola snacks smashed into the court. Chu Feng celebrated playing, spreading his hands out at his teammates, expressing a mockery of Norwich fans' inability to resist. The game continues. Match 39th minute. Chu Feng received a pass from Darren Cowart on the edge of the penalty area. Norwich backcourt players. Siege of Chu Feng. Face the bag of 3 players in the penalty area. All 3 players folded their hands. When preventing Chu Feng from shooting, he was awarded a penalty for opening his hands and expanding the defensive area. Chu Feng kept cutting inward to the left. Show the intention to find an angle to shoot from a distance. Put 3 defenders as Chu Feng cuts in and out to move to the left. Chu Feng found the gap as they moved. Direct forced breakthrough entry. The soccer balls at the feet were also dribbled through together. Chu Feng went directly to the edge of the small forbidden area. The goalkeeper broke through due to Chu Feng's consultation. Flustered, unstable center of gravity. Chu Feng saw the flaw. Pick the ball straight in, goal. The goalkeeper's center of gravity was completely lost. Kneeling down before Chu Feng. Goal. The score was 0-2. Chu Feng made another contribution. Help Leicester City take a 2-goal lead over Norwich. Chu Feng completed the second degree of. Chu Feng rushed to the bottom line. Hug and celebrate with your teammates. After the celebration, Chu Feng's right hand was placed next to his right ear. Ears to the Norwich fans. Rotate for 1 week. As if hoping to hear the Norwich fans. Norwich fans shouted very little. And some plastic waste was thrown to the sidelines. Norwich coach Alex Neil slumped weakly in his chair. Although he had long been ready to face Chu Feng, the new Premier League genius. After facing the rotation of other main players, Chu Feng led Leicester City alone. But unexpectedly, whether it is the targeting of the players or the boos of the fans, they still couldn't stop Chu Feng from scoring goals. Alex now just hopes the score isn't too ugly. The second half began. Alex replaced center Gemello with Gary O'Neill. The formation was completely transformed into a frontless lineup. Start sticking to the goal without losing. But it didn't take long. Match 63rd minute. Chu Feng received the ball from teammate Vardy at a distance of 30 yards from the goal. Facing midfielder Tetai, who was stuck in his position from the front. Tetai tried to prevent Chu Feng from passing himself. There was no choice to force it. Instead, it lowers the center of gravity. Prevent Chu Feng from being able to quickly change direction and pass himself. As long as Tetai could stop Chu Feng from speeding up. Norwich players in the penalty area have enough time to make up for the defense. Chu Feng observed Tetai and kept holding the ball and cutting inward towards the middle of the road. In the eyes of the Norwich players, Chu Feng was looking for a vacancy. But Chu Feng was actually looking for the angle of the shot in the process of adjusting his body. Just after Tetai was complacent about suppressing Chu Feng directly stepped forward with his left foot and stood forward. With open arms, swing your legs back with your right foot. Not only the legs are exerting force, but also the abdomen is also exerting force. Then swing your right leg forward quickly, jumping straight on the smooth instep of the hit soccer ball. Football is like a cannonball. Speed towards the goal. When goalkeeper Rudy reacted and pounced in the direction the ball was flying. It's too late to block. The ball slammed into the net. Chu Feng stood where he was, with open arms, waiting for the celebratory hugs of his teammates. The Canary fans at the Carno Road Stadium at this time. There was silence. Such a wonderful goal, they cannot boo. He was not willing to applaud Chu Feng. Only 63 minutes after the game, Norwich fans had already begun to leave the game. They felt humiliated on the pitch. And Chu Feng once again made a contribution to Leicester City. The second half was only 18 minutes into play. Leicester City led Canary Norwich 3-0 away. As soon as the goal was scored, the Norwich players completely lost their fighting spirit. The rest of the game is over before the end. None of them ever attempted to launch an attack. Instead, it was in 88 minutes. Chu Feng made a wonderful long pass in midfield. Jumped straight over Norwich's defensive line. The ball was sent to the feet of Valdi, who was also inserted forward. Valdi made adjustments. One kick. Norwich's goal was once again pierced. Today's game was an absolute nightmare for goalkeeper Rudy. The final referee of the game saw that Norwich had lost his fighting spirit. After 90 minutes of regular time, the end of the game whistle sounded. The 8th round of the Premier League. Leicester City beat Norwich City 4-1 away. Episode 47. As the top of the Premier League, Chu Feng completed his hat-trick against Norwich. The media also reported on Chu Feng's performance in this match. Chu Feng hat-trick easily won the Canary. Chu Feng's world wave 30 yards away. Chu Feng shut up the whole Kano Road Stadium. Leicester City won Norwich away. Chu Feng made 4 goals alone. Facing Chu Feng, Canary fans fell into a collapse. Chu Feng consecutive hat-tricks, 2 games to create 8 goals, the new football king. Foreign fans have also fallen into the worship of Chu Feng. Chu Feng forehead drop Superman, forehead drop hero. Lying grass, lying grass, lying grass, lying grass. I have already described the situation of my long-range shooting of Chu Feng's foot. I used to think that Chu Feng would become a football superstar like Mero in the future, but I didn't expect that Chu Feng was already becoming. Norwich Stadium fans are really unqualified, messing with Nyama and throwing garbage. They deserve to be abused. Now John's domestic basically did not give Chu Feng fans, all conquered by Chu Feng's performance in 8 games. Chu Feng 8 rounds of Premier League matches, 15 goals, 5 assists. Much taller than C. Romisi. Who else can question it? As Chu Feng became more and more popular in the Premier League, John with Sky Sports Channel also did an interview with Chu Feng. The name of the interview is Football King Chu Feng. John Wu fans were watching Chu Feng's interview. A sexy female host around him was facing Chu Feng. Chu Feng, why did you choose the Premier League? Chu Feng did not squint at the eyes of the host people back. My coach in my country recommended me to Leicester City for a trial. The hostess asked with a wink. You've scored 15 goals and 5 assists in 8 games, what do you think is the reason? Chu Feng replied. Because my teammates trust me enough to give the players to me. I am here to express my gratitude to them. The hostess stopped throwing winks and continued to ask. Why didn't you accept an invitation from a big club after the Sunderland match against Sunderland? The choice is in Leicester City? Chu Feng wiped his nose, relieved the strange feeling brought to his nose by the perfume on the hostess's body, and continued to answer. Well, because many of the giants at the time weren't willing to give me enough playing time to only guarantee my bench position, and Leicester City assured me of the core position. The hostess laughed. So, as long as there is a big club that promises you the core position, you will choose to transfer in the winter window? Chu Feng shook his head. I hope it starts and ends, and I'll stay in Leicester this season. The hostess continued to ask, along with the topic of the transfer. Do you have a favorite team next season? How much will your transfer fee be? Chu Feng's expression was a little tangled. Well, there are too many good clubs at the moment, and as for the transfer fee, when I signed a contract with Leicester City at the beginning, we determined that at the end of the season, we could start the transfer negotiations with 160 million yuan. The hostess exclaimed. 160 million? This will break the transfer fee record. Chu Feng smiled. Why do you think I'm not worth it? I think there will be clubs that will find me, and not less. After some boring questions ended this interview. Fans who watched the interview also had a discussion. You see that BZ has been complaining, and Chu Feng threw winks at me. Chu Feng must come to us next season too. I'll go to the door of the Carrington training base tomorrow to hold up a sign. Next season I must bring in Chu Feng, 160 million to buy a new Mero, and he is even younger. Fans have expressed their hope that their team can bring in Chu Feng next season. They believe that with Chu Feng, as long as Chu Feng is built as the core team, the team will have a long time to stand on the top of Europe. Foreign countries even opened a market for Chu Feng to return to that club in the future. The biggest odds are currently in Real Madrid. European fans also seem to think that Chu Feng has a dream of being an emperor. Summer Kingdom. Domestic online media have reprinted Chu Feng's interview. Also given. Xiaogua player Chu Feng, the new generation of Merlot. Chu Feng, the king of football, conquered European football. Fans also said. When will Chu Feng take us into the World Cup? I hope that the national football team will not give Chu Feng too much to delay and affect Chu Feng to win the Golden Globe Award. Episode 48. Spear of the Saints. Maine. John's Kingdom, October 17th. 9th round of the Premier League. Leicester City away to Southampton. Southampton Football Club is a football club founded by a priest. Hence the nickname Saint. Southampton is over 100 years old. It is located in Hampshire Harbour in southeast England. Chu Feng had not yet stepped into St. Mary's Stadium. In the players' tunnel, more than 30,000 Southampton fans were heard singing the team song. Saints fans sang aloud. Oh, when the Saints go marching in. Whenever the Saints march together. Oh, when the Saints go marching in. Whenever the Saints march together. I want to be in that number. I always want to be in it. Oh, when the Saints go marching in. The Saints march together. Before Chu Feng entered, he already felt the atmosphere of the Saints' home stadium. With the instructions of the staff, Chu Feng stepped into St. Mary's Stadium, a stadium that only became Southampton's home stadium in 2001. As the referee whistle sounded, the game begins. Southampton began its onslaught against Leicester City. They have watched Leicester City play. On the road, the home team always lost points at the beginning of the game. So the team manager Ronald Koeman, the future coach who will switch from the Dutch national team to Barcelona. The plan was to chase and fight hard 20 minutes before the opening. The game unfolded in the midst of Southampton's frantic frontcourt advance. The game had just begun and the Leicester City players had learned their lesson. The 4 defenders in the back line stand at the back. The midfielders weren't overly pressed forward either. The entire formation is compressed. Until the 16th minute of the game. Leicester City defender Morgan made a successful steal on Southampton centre forward Pelé. Then the right foot was short passed to Kanté in the back position. Kanté stuck straight in and found Vardy, who was inserted in front of him. Vardy dribbled through Southampton's front court. Continued to dribble towards the edge of the penalty area. Southampton backup Wanyama intercepted from the middle. Wanyama got stuck in Vardy's seat from the middle. Forced Vardy to dribble towards the bottom line on the flank. Vardy was forced to move towards the flank. Chu Feng's catch route was also blocked by Southampton striker Tardis. When Vardy thinks about how to handle the ball, defender Bertrand has made up for it. Left foot shovel towards Vardy. It was too late for Vardy to have the ball. The ball was shoveled towards midfielder Ward. Southampton made a quick counter-attack. Ward took the ball and knocked it straight forward to centre Pelé. Pelé observed striker Maine, who had been staying at Leicester City halftime. Maine himself began to plug forward. Pelé did not stop the ball. Straight 1-foot straight plug. Penetrate Leicester City's backline. Several Leicester City defenders in the backline. The back is too weak. Wait for a few defenders to turn around. Maine has arrived first. Caught up with the football. Leicester City defender Morgan turned and stretched out his feet to destroy the football. Maine doesn't make adjustments. Follow the angle of the ball's movement. Hit the bottom of the soccer ball with your right foot and shoot provocatively. The goalkeeper struck prematurely and got too close to Maine. The football was picked past the goalkeeper. Goal. Maine score. Maine for Southampton. Southampton lead Leicester City 1-0 at home. Maine turned back to Pellet, who was assisting. The two embraced each other to celebrate scoring. Southampton home fans cheered. Maine. Maine. Chu Feng looked at Maine, who was celebrating. Maine was in the youth academy of Metz FC in France with Chinese player Wang. Be good friends with the king. But then one of them is standing on the top of Europe and one in the Chinese first division. Let Chu Feng also sigh. And Maine deserves to be one of Liverpool's tridents. Help Liverpool stand on top of Europe. He and Chu Feng thought they had super explosive power. Now he is the spear of the Saints. Onside commentary. Southampton made a quick counter-attack that pierced Leicester City's defense directly. Maine surpassed the Leicester defenders with his excellent explosiveness. A solid pick-and-roll shot made Leicester goalkeeper Casper the backdrop for his goals. Southampton's home goal excites the commentator. Episode 49. Facing a temporary trail in the scoreline. Leicester City's players seem to have finally woken up. A counter-attack began. Chu Feng began to put a lot of pressure on the Southampton players. Chu Feng's high-speed dribbling technique has made Southampton's frontcourt players suffer. repeatedly broke through the defensive line and fired long-range fire. Luckily, the luck of Southampton today was good after all. 2 consecutive times, Chu Feng hit the door frame. Let Southampton escape the disaster. Finally, it was almost the end of the workplace. Leicester City began to fight back again. Southampton's attack was confiscated by goalkeeper Casper. Casper serves fast. Throw the ball in your hand and send it to the feet of defender Danny Simpson. Simpson's short pass to midfielder Darren Cowart. After Darren Cowart received the ball. Keep the rhythm under control. Observe where the players stand on the field. A long pass found Chu Feng, who was looking for an opportunity in the Southampton half. After Chu Feng unloaded the ball with his left foot, big footsteps began to stomp the ball. Relying directly on speed, he swung past Tadic, who had been staring at him from his side. Tardis hadn't finished turning around yet. Chu Feng had already thrown him away. Face the defenders who have come from the defensive side. Chu Feng continuously changed the rhythm in one direction. Just shook him. Before Chu Feng was the future known as the world first guard. Van Dijk, who competed with Messi in 2019 as a defender. Van Dijk faced Chu Feng's advance. Decisively retreat towards the middle of the road. Leave room on the flanks. Induce Chu Feng to rush to the side. Just go near the bottom line. Van Dijk only used to block the angle of Chu Feng's shot from the far corner. The near corner is left to the goalkeeper. Chu Feng's attack would be disintegrated. But Van Dijk did not understand Chu Feng. Chu Feng was retreating with Van Dijk's back to the middle of the road. Buckle the ball with your right foot towards your left foot. Turn around in Marseille. Although it did not directly pass Van Dijk. But already in a parallel position with Van Dijk. On the outskirts of the restricted area. It was completely Chu Feng's range. Chu Feng pulled out his leg and shot at a distance. The ball flew straight into dead ends. The goalkeeper, who was blocked from view by Van Dijk, had no time to react. You can only stand where you are. Look back at the soccer ball that has already entered the net. The entire Southampton stadium fell silent. Domestic broadcast room. Chu Feng dribbled the ball past 2 people in a row and killed into the penalty area, and Southampton centre-back Van Dijk leaned over. Keep retreating towards the middle of the road. Chu Feng, a Marseille whirlwind. The chance to shoot from a distance is there. Pregnant. Jean Jun was at the same time as Chu Feng was passing the ball. The sound began to improve continuously. In the end, until Chu Feng raised his leg to shoot. The ball was scored. Chu Feng scored his 16th goal in his 9th game for Leicester City. Chu Feng made another contribution to Leicester City at St. Mary's Stadium. Equalized. Leicester City equalized Southampton 1-1 away. Chu Feng is really a cloud-piercing arrow to break the St. A. The barrage in the live broadcast room also began to celebrate Chu Feng's goal. Although I have never heard of the Southampton team, it does not affect Chu Feng's. Chu Feng's signature goal was first a breakthrough in the front, and then a long-range shot from the outside of the penalty area that shook off the angle. But there is no solution. Chu Feng, come on. Chu Feng, 66666. Chu Feng rushed to the Leicester City fan stage with the team. Swing your fist hard. Expressing the excitement of the equalizer. With the end of the first half, the two sides fought 1-1. The second half began. 60th minute of the match. Chu Feng received the ball in midfield. It's the same seat again. The same approach passes Tadic and Wanyama. As long as the defensive space is not dense enough, there is a certain amount of availability. The two turned slowly and one was a slow Southampton player. In Chu Feng years ago, it was like 2 wooden stakes. Feel free to shake it off. Chu Feng once met Van Dijk on the outskirts of the penalty area. This time Van Dijk still had the same tactic, retreating towards the middle. But this time another centre-back, Jose Font, also leaned over. Prevent Chu Feng from cutting inside again. This time, Chu Feng chose the side road to force a breakthrough. With Chu Feng's second stage speeding up. Directly on the side of the road to marshal Van Dijk out of half a position. Van Dijk is not very capable of turning. And because Chu Feng was breaking through from the outside of the forbidden area, there was enough angle to shoot after passing Van Dijk. Chu Feng calmly pushed and shot. The goalkeeper's legs came to pinch the ball. Directly pierced by Chu Feng through the crotch to break the door. Goal. Chu Feng basically used the same route to break through the gates of Southampton once again. The future Shuriwei seemed so powerless before Chu Feng. Episode 50. with Chu Feng's counterscore. Leicester City fans at St. Mary's Stadium also cheered wildly. The entire St. Mary's Stadium became Leicester City's home stadium. The fans danced with flying eyebrows. Ever since Chu Feng came to Leicester City, the fans have never been disappointed. Let this team, which is obviously just a relegation team, be rejuvenated. The goal of the fans has long been not relegation, they are yearning for European competition, a stage they have never been to. The fans could only cheer as much as possible to tell Chu Feng about their love for their prince. 75th minute of the match. Southampton launched a counterattack. After a quick pass of 2 or 3 feet, the ball has reached the Todic's feet. Todic dribbled the ball into Leicester City after halftime. The ball was passed directly from the flank to centre forward Pele in the middle. Centrum Pele faces blocks from 2 midfielders. I had no choice but to give it to Main on the right side. After Main received the ball, he exploded with speed and made a quick burst. Because Leicester City's midfield defense is too dense, Main rushed straight to the bottom line with the ball. Leicester City left-back Schlupp maintained a distance from Main. Block Main's route into the restricted area. Main could not break through for a short time. He passed the ball straight to the middle. Southampton centre-forward Perrin has a height of 194 centimeters. The battle for the top is his forte. But the Leicester City defenders were all big tall. Faced with such a bag, Pele failed in the battle. Football falls on the lawn. Kanté kicked the ball out. Leicester City finally defused Southampton's attack. The next step is to switch between attack and defense. Match 86th minute. Leicester City attacked. Morgan received the ball at the back. Split the side directly to the midfielder Fox on the right. Fox saw Shinji Okazaki blocked. Cross to Kanté in the middle. After Kanté touched the ball with 1 foot. Straight to forward Vardy. Vardy wanted to get past Steven at the back. Continuously changed direction. Steven didn't move. Vardy couldn't get past Steven for a moment. Observed Chu Feng on the right side of the road. He split the ball from the middle of the road to Chu Feng's body. Chu Feng looked at the flying ball. Has been accelerated before. Last and first served. The football is controlled under the feet. Chu Feng broke through from the right side of the penalty area towards the forbidden area. Too fast. Van Dijk in front of him kept retreating. Hoped to retreat towards the middle. But Chu Feng was too fast. Van Dijk also retreated too fast. Fall directly back to the ground. Van Dijk deserves to have the talent of the world guard. The moment you fall to the ground. He stretched out his right leg as hard as he could, hoping to jam Chu Feng's forward route and block some shot angles. But Chu Feng was not ready to force the door at the beginning. He crossed directly to Valdi, who was inserted in front of the middle. Vardy doesn't make adjustments. Shoot directly in the air. Goalkeeper Kelvin was still thinking about defending Chu Feng's shot. There was no time to block. Football quickly flew into the net. Goal. Vardy contributed to Leicester City with Chu Feng's assist. Leicester City leads Southampton 3-1 away. Vardy ran towards Chu Feng. Celebrate with Chu Feng. Subsequent matches. Southampton had lost the momentum to resist. Basically, the turtle shrinks and defends. The 2 minutes of stoppage time end. Leicester City beat Southampton 3-1 away. Chu Feng thanked the fans who played with the team. Prepare to leave the stadium. Be shouted at. Chu Feng. Chu Feng. Chu Feng looked back. It turned out to be Main. Main smiled at Chu Feng. Hello Chu Feng, what you played today is really wonderful. Can you change the jersey with me? Chu Feng also admired this generous genius from Africa. He agreed to Main. Main said, thank you, you Shagwa people are really very good. I had a good friend of the Shagwa Wang before. Do you know him? He seems to be playing in the Shagwa. He is as good as you, and he takes good care of me. Oh, I know, he's a really good guy. Chu Feng replied. At this time Van Dijk also ran over. Hey, what are you talking about? By the way, can Chu Feng change my jersey with me? Main was now a little embarrassed, and the words in his mouth could not be spoken. Chu Feng smiled and said, we are talking about our friends in Xiagua. I'm sorry, I have already agreed to change my jersey with Main first. The next round of the league, if you still want to, let's change it at that time. Van Dijk said helplessly, well, Chu Feng, I have to say that you played too well today, I can become a sinner in the team. Then the arm rests on Main's shoulder. You guys are so fast. Chu Feng and Maine smiled and shrugged at each other. Chu Feng conquered Liverpool's future 2 core players at Southampton.